my 6 top places to investigate one day. Number 6, Stonehenge. Yeah, there is a long list of magical, awesome spiritual places I hope to visit one day, and this is just kind of a short compiled list, and kind of sat down and I just figured, what kind of right away, easy to visit, more easy in a way, and yeah, Stonehenge. Yeah, long story, some thoughts of who built it, how they built it. A lot of unanswered questions still, but I feel this would be an interesting place. And I think this would be a really cool place to be able to just ghost box and, walk around with your meters and do all that stuff that we do at the other places. But yeah, for whatever reason, this is one of the places I'm drawn to. As you can see, more of the images of the older, how it may have looked. And yeah, ley lines. Ley lines is something that I've been really interested in, and I'd like to talk to some locals around there about their ley lines, because I can only imagine that there's people around there that have a lot more knowledge of the working theory than I do. But yeah, out of all the places, I think this was, if I'm kind of ranking them, I figured this is a good place to start. Number 6, kind of classic Stonehenge, and yeah, I would like to test out meters and talk with people there and do all that crazy stuff, and who knows what else. But yeah, magical legends, Merlin, it's even tied into this one, so some very interesting stuff. Yeah, one day, who knows? Stonehenge, I'd like to go. Number 5, Easter Island in the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, this one's always actually been an older favorite, influence of older comics and stuff. I've always wanted to check this place out. Again, there's just a lot of interesting stories. Even the historical, what archaeology believes happens at these places is still very interesting. Just so many aspects of this, how there's no trees left, the entire island just got devoured of trees to use to possibly build this. Yeah, I guess the story is when more of the modern Western men wandered onto the remaining survivors, they were basically starving and turning to cannibalism and stuff. And their language is very interesting. And this is definitely a place that I would love to go. Again, trying to these magical places, there's theories that these places are tapped into this ley line, this earth grid system, and this one's always been one that just stood out to me. And I love it how you see how they're buried halfway like that, or at the bottom of the chin. It's just amazing, some of this stuff. And there's some interesting working ideas of how they may have moved these. I saw a really interesting one about how walking, and there's even a legend that these walk, and a small group of students were able to kind of show that it's possible using interesting rope setup and stuff, and to stand them up and actually walk them. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, this is definitely a place one day I would love to visit. Yeah, look at the horses. I'd love to take a horse ride around there. I'm sure these places are pricey to go to these days. But yeah, number 5, Easter Island. Number 4, Hiroshima. Or Hiroshima. Yeah, this one is different. And this is one due to the theory of departed souls, especially in traumatic fashion. I don't know if people have actually researched this, and going into this, I was just compiling a list of interesting places that I think I'd want to go, and due to the fact of the just strange circumstances and the way mankind kind of bent the rules of space and time on that faithful day, I would really just like to explore this. And that building you see right there, I guess that was one of the last buildings, and so now it's a memorial. That's actually a more modern picture. So yeah, a very interesting scenario. And again, many essences and souls lost fast. So the theory about some of these spirits that wander because they do not even realize they're dead, I mean, some sort of blast like this, I can only imagine would create maybe a perfect storm for that kind of. And I don't know the whole deal, and I honestly don't know if anybody's been there, but this is one place I would like to investigate one day. And that memorial, that was one of the last standing buildings, I guess. Just devastation. Very interesting place, lots of history, and I would like to visit it one day. See what kind of evidence might be collected. Number 3, Chaco Canyon, New Mexico. This place I find extremely fascinating, and now learning more about this interesting supernatural, magical side, my fascination with Chaco Canyon is now grown deeper, because I learned about it years and years and years ago, and I was more fascinated about the more astral archaeological aspect of how they were able to line up their buildings with stars and celestial patterns. And it is a fascinating place. It is huge, multiple buildings spanning miles, and these are the small remnants. There's a picture in here that should pop up about how it might have looked, but those round circles are called kivas, and they believe there might have been some sort of magical practices that happened in there. I've heard legends that the Anasazi developed high-powered magic, or whoever the people of Chaco Canyon were, and modern-day Navajo developed their skinwalker black magic from the people of Chaco Canyon and the ruins around. That's an image of how it might have looked. Fascinating place. Again, one of those kind of just strange earth grid areas, I believe, and again, we don't fully know exactly what happened. And I've always been fascinated with this. Maybe magic, maybe spiritual, a lot of legends tied in. Again, I would like to talk with locals. A very fascinating place. Number 2, Petra Jordan. Yes, I have to admit, partial of the influence I believe for this place comes from my very old fascination with old Indiana Jones flicks, but studying more into the megalithic sites and just archaeology in general, and anthropology and all those disciplines, it does seem this place is chocked full of all sorts of factual and mythical legends, different ideas. Again, maybe magic. History tells us it was more of a spice trade city. But why would people build like this? It's very interesting. And I still think that we barely understand what really happened around that area and how old it possibly could be. It could be even older than what we think. And the people that inhabited it found it. This is definitely one of the top places I would love to go to one day and investigate and talk and learn what I can. Besides just being beautiful and places to visit, I honestly and sincerely would like to try to just do some sort of interesting paranormal research around this, be it digital voice recorders or pulling out a K2 meter or any sort of EMF meter, and maybe even ghost box. Who knows? Who knows what kind of stuff you can get? This is ancient lands. definitely one of the top places that I would love to visit one day. Petra, which is Latin for stone or rock. Number 1. All of Egypt. Yeah, so when making this, I originally was just gonna do the Giza area, and then I realized all along the Band of Hope, in the different cities, Memphis, Luxor, Cairo, Giza, there's all sorts of places to see. And that's just the tip. There's a bunch of other, all sorts of interesting locale. And I think this being one of the oldest, I would love to go to this one day and check this out. I've always just had a crazy fascination for ancient Egypt since I opened up my very first National Geographic when I was a little kid. It was probably like one of the first National Geographics I ever saw. And I love these pictures of how we found it. This is really not that long ago in in just history in general. There's a lot of unanswered questions with the entire country of Egypt. And I believe we're dealing with stuff that is way beyond us still, as fancy and as technologically advanced as we think we are. I truly believe the ancients, we were witnessing the downfall through ancient Egypt of some sort of higher technology that might have been some sort of ancient lost civilization passed down to the remnants of some cultures like this. Definitely the top place anywhere. I would not complain anywhere, everywhere in Egypt. I would love to just soak it all in, and I could literally spend probably the rest of my life there. And I thought about other places. There's a lot of other places. This is kind of just, wish list, because there's a lot of other jungly places and stuff like that would take a lot more dedication and patience. But for along the line of the average world traveler, these are places that could be accomplished, and you could tie in some interesting paranormal research. Look at that. You could be having meters walking around all over this place. Digital voice recorders. Who knows what you're going to catch? IR cameras, full spectrum cameras, REM pods, tri-field meters, Mel meters, you name it. I would love to do some paranormal research in these crazy places one day. And these were the top 6 of them that one day I hope I can visit.